My roommate Song Yuan played the delicate beauty card and convinced my boyfriend to carry her across the river. I tried my best to stop them, but Song Yuan was swept away by the current and found lifeless. My boyfriend and the counselor pushed me into the river, demanding I join Song Yuan in death. I was reborn, and this time I choose to let others face their own destiny. A suffocating feeling lingered in my chest. I opened my eyes and heard that familiar voice again, Lin Luo. You're not going to be that petty, are you? Classmates should help each other out. I looked toward the speaker. It was none other than my roommate, Song Yuan. She was petite and delicate-featured. From the very start of the semester, she'd built this image of a fragile beauty, constantly falling ill, whether it was a cold or a sprained ankle, always asking us to fetch water or bring her meals. I figured since we were classmates, I might as well lend a hand when I could. So I never made a big deal out of it. Our class organized an outing to a secluded forest, where we hiked and picked fruit, a full package of fun activities, but when crossing the river, Song Yuan looked startled, hesitating on a rock in the middle of the path, unable to move forward. Some classmates behind her grew impatient and urged her to hurry up. Song Yuan burst into tears immediately, saying she wasn't feeling well and was too scared to cross on her own. A classmate lost patience. Then why did you even come? You're just holding up the activity. Why don't you go back to the homestay and lie down? My boyfriend Xiaoshu immediately retorted. We're all classmates here. Watch your tone. She's delicate, and it's perfectly normal to be afraid of water. Song Yuan, as if grasping at a lifeline, tugged at Xiaoshu's sleeve and cooed. Class monitor, could you carry me across on your back? Her large, glistening eyes welled with tears, making her look utterly heartrending. Xiaoshu's cheeks flushed slightly as he averted his gaze from her and instead looked at me. Xiaoshu and I attended the same high school, though we were in different classes. We knew each other quite well. After discovering we both applied to this university, we started hanging out and got together right before the semester began. In my previous life, I was already waiting for them on the opposite bank of the river, facing Xiaoshu's silent inquiry. I surveyed the terrain and considered the footing from when I crossed earlier. I advised him frankly, the current is swift, though it doesn't look deep, the rocks are slippery, carrying someone across would actually be more dangerous. Xiaoshu was clearly hesitating. Song Yuan's voice trembled with tears. Lin Luo, I know you're upset that I talked with Xiaoshu a bit more, but I'm genuinely scared. I never meant to steal your boyfriend. Xiaoshu looked at the pitiful Song Yuan, gritted his teeth, and crouched down. With a manly gesture, he pointed to his back and said authoritatively, hop on. This felt like a direct slap in the face. My temper flared, and I sneered, if both of you end up falling into the water, don't say I didn't warn you. The counselor, displeased with my words, retorted, Lin Luo, stop stirring up competition among women, we should be supporting each other. The counselor always preaches women supporting women, but her attitude toward the female students is lukewarm at best, while she's noticeably warmer toward the male students. It seems her idea of women supporting women is just a way to tell the girls to solve their own problems and bother her less, so she has more time to help the boys. She treats Xiaoshu with exceptional kindness. If nothing else, he's certainly easy on the eyes. Xiaoshu retorted irritably, Lin Luo, stop being so aggressive. The water isn't that deep, it's not like she'll get swept away, don't be so petty. I rolled my eyes and said, suit yourself. Adults should take responsibility for their own actions. She staggered to the water's edge, took a couple of steps on the rocks, seemed steady enough, then suddenly started swaying unsteadily, afraid she might actually fall in. I quickly stepped forward to catch her. The moment my hand touched hers, a flicker of calculation suddenly flashed in her eyes as she looked at me. Then, Song Yuan slipped and fell into the water. Ah, Xiaoshu, save me. Lin Luo pushed me. Song Yuan screamed, grabbing onto Xiaoshu's pant leg. How shameless. I tried to help her up, and instead she accused me. Xiaoshu lost his balance and fell on the riverbank, grabbing onto a small tree branch to keep from being dragged down by her. In the heat of the moment, Xiaoshu cried out in panic, let go of me. The instructor rushed over and wrapped his arms around Xiaoshu's waist, afraid he might be pulled into the water. Save me, help, Song Yuan shouted desperately, seeing that the instructor had gone to hold Xiaoshu instead of pulling her to safety. The current may not look strong, but losing your balance in it could be extremely dangerous. Xiaoshu's pants were halfway pulled down by Song Yuan. Seeing his embarrassing state, he struggled anxiously and said, Song Yuan, let go first. We'll figure out a way to save you. The instructor urgently called for the boy behind her to help, Not many students had chosen to pick wild berries that day, and there was only one boy behind her. He tried to reach for Song Yuan, but the distance was too great, he couldn't get to her hand. In the stalemate, Song Yuan's grip gradually weakened, a wave crashed over her hand, and in a moment of panic and terror, she lost her grip and plunged into the water. She managed to cry out, "Xiaoshu, you have to save me." After a few more waves, Song Yuan still surfaced occasionally, but soon the water grew calm, and she vanished from sight. The instructor, terrified, dropped to the ground and shakily dialed the emergency number. This was a serious situation. Xiaoshu's face also looked extremely unpleasant. He suddenly snapped at me viciously, "Lin Luo, what are you doing? Did you push Song Yuan just now? Otherwise, why would she suddenly fall?" I was also scared out of my wits by this sudden turn of events. But why on earth was he blaming all of this on me? I retorted furiously, "Open your eyes and look, I didn't even touch her hand." Xiaoshu yelled, "Happy now? This is all your fault. We don't even know if Song Yuan is alive or dead." I shot back, "Then why didn't you dare to grab her hand earlier? All you did was cling to that branch. If you and the instructor had pulled her together, Song Yuan wouldn't have been swept away." Xiaoshu's face instantly turned ashen. The rescue team arrived and searched the waters all day, finally finding Song Yuan's body in a drainage ditch. A student's death blew this incident wide open. That night, as I was sleeping in the guest house, someone suddenly pressed a scented towel over my mouth and nose. I struggled briefly before losing consciousness. When I came to, I found myself by the riverbank where Song Yuan had fallen into the water. Xiaoshu glared at me with red-rimmed eyes. "Lin Luo, you took a living person's life. Today you will pay for Song Yuan's death with your own. Have you lost your mind? This has nothing to do with me," I shouted. The instructor beside me slapped me and snapped, "Hurry up, we'll just say Lin Luo killed herself out of guilt and pin Song Yuan's murder on her." I realized the instructor was trying to save his own skin by throwing me under the bus. They shoved me into the water. I struggled to keep my balance and tried to swim, but it was useless. The river was full of rocks. My head hit one of them, and everything started spinning. Gradually, I felt water filling my nostrils as my entire body sank beneath the surface. Too, in my final moments, I thought of Mom and Dad again. "I'm so sorry. I've failed as a daughter. How heartbroken they'll be without me, in this lifetime." Xiaoshu's questioning gaze fell upon me once more. Suddenly, it hit me. When did they get together? How could I have been completely oblivious? This time, I avoided Xiaoshu's probing eyes and looked down at my own toes. Xiaoshu reluctantly asked, "Lin Luo, can I carry Song Yuan on my back?" My heart started pounding. This was a perfect two-birds-one-stone opportunity. I feigned surprise and said, "You're asking me. If you want to do it, just go ahead." Song Yuan smiled triumphantly and said, "Lin Luo wouldn't mind such a small thing." Class monitor, "Well, thank you in advance." Xiaoshu looked at me with suspicion, as if wondering why I, known for my bad temper, had suddenly become so accommodating. I shrugged. Classmates should help each other out. Isn't that what a class monitor is supposed to do? Serve the students? Xiaoshu reluctantly crouched down, while Song Yuan smiled shyly and climbed onto his back, wrapping her arms around his neck. Just as Xiaoshu stood up, the instructor suddenly stepped forward and questioned, "Xiaoshu, is this safe? These rocks are covered in green moss. They must be slippery." Xiaoshu hesitated again and mumbled, "It does seem a bit risky. Maybe we should." Before he could finish, Song Yuan said softly, "Don't worry, instructor, our monitor is so strong. If he just slows down a bit, everything will be fine." The instructor hesitated, looking at Xiaoshu with concern, but Xiaoshu had already set off with Song Yuan on his back. He was walking unsteadily, making the other students anxious. They shouted, "Slow down." Song Yuan grew worried too. She felt herself slipping and instinctively tried to adjust her position. Her sudden movement made Xiaoshu tense up, and he yelled, "Stop moving." Suddenly, on the greenest rock, Xiaoshu slipped and fell. Both of them tumbled into the water. I felt a surge of delight, having genuinely worried they might make it across. "Ah!" They screamed in unison, flailing their arms wildly, instinctively grasping for anything within reach. Xiaoshu grabbed onto a tree branch, while Song Yuan clung tightly to his waist. The classmates were stunned by the scene. It wasn't until Xiaoshu shouted, "Lin Luo, help us," that everyone snapped out of their daze. I feigned panic, my legs giving way as I collapsed to the ground. With a trembling voice, I cried out, "Song Yuan, this is all your fault. If you hadn't insisted on making Xiaoshu carry you across, you wouldn't have fallen into the water." Resentment flashed in Xiaoshu's eyes. Meanwhile, Song Yuan was in even worse shape, unable to make out what I was saying. Water splashed across her face as she struggled to breathe. Seeing this, the instructor snapped out of his daze and called for the male student behind him to pull Xiaoshu to safety. Xiaoshu frantically grabbed one of them, causing the person to stumble and nearly fall into the water. The student quickly sat down to steady himself. From the opposite side, I fanned the flames. Instructor, please save Xiaoshu and Song Yuan. Do you want to just stand by and watch them die? The instructor shot me a fierce glare, gritted his teeth, stepped forward, and grabbed Xiaoshu's other hand. The two of them strained with all their might, but Xiaoshu and Song Yuan were too heavy, and the force of the water was overwhelming. They quickly lost their strength and were on the verge of being dragged into the water by Xiaoshu. Panic flashed in their eyes, sensing their strong desire to retreat. Xiaoshu tightened his grip on their hands, struggling frantically as he shouted, "Song Yuan, let go of me, you're going to get us both killed." Choked by the rushing water, Song Yuan couldn't speak, but she clung desperately to Xiaoshu as her only lifeline, refusing to loosen her hold. Xiaoshu then turned to me and barked an order, "Lin Luo, hurry up and pull me out." Tears streaming down my face, I waved my phone at Xiaoshu in a panicked daze. "Hang on just a little longer. I don't have the strength to pull you up right now. Song Yuan is so frail, she needs you. I'm calling the rescue team." Xiaoshu cursed under his breath, his rage boiling over as he snarled, "Song Yuan, you bitch, you're really going to be the death of me." Well, so much for chivalry when his own life was on the line. A wave crashed over his face, soaking their clasped hands. Their grip was slipping, and it was only a matter of time before they lost hold. Seeing that he was about to be pulled into the water, the instructor immediately let go. Another guy, realizing the danger, quickly released his grip too. Xiaoshu was swept away by the current, screaming in terror, and Song Yuan disappeared into the river along with him. Only the stunned classmates remained. I began to put on a performance, weeping uncontrollably. "Instructor, why did you let go of Xiaoshu's hand? If you had held on just a little longer, the rescue team would have been here." The instructor, pale with rage and gasping for breath, snapped, "I almost got dragged down with them. I'd done everything humanly possible." I kept sobbing, I don't care, they fell, and it's your responsibility." The instructor looked at me as if she could skin me alive, but no matter what, she had to answer for what happened. Even so, it still wouldn't make up for the harm she did to me in my past life. After that harrowing experience, none of the students dared to go mountain climbing again, descending in a state of shock. When the rescue team arrived, I volunteered to join them in searching the mountain for their bodies. In a pool of water, they found Song Yuan clinging to a large rock, barely alive with purple lips, and the rescue team quickly pulled her to safety. Song Yuan was coughing violently, producing pink, frothy sputum. The rescue team said she had pulmonary edema, possibly with a lung infection, and needed immediate medical attention. This is a far better outcome than her previous life's ending, where she drowned outright. I asked anxiously, "Song Yuan, where is Xiaoshu? Please, you have to tell me." Song Yuan was in terrible shape, but her mind was mostly clear. Still, she refused to say a word. Even after the rescue team asked her several times, after she was taken away, we searched for most of the night and finally found Xiaoshu caught in some branches at a shallow bank. He had a very long gash on his arm, had lost a lot of blood, and looked half dead. Xiaoshu was rushed to a nearby hospital for emergency treatment, and I went with him. When the doctor was desperately looking for family members and told me and the counselor that Xiaoshu's arm was severely infected and required amputation, the counselor nearly fainted from shock. She trembled as she called Xiaoshu's parents, anxiously explaining the situation for a long time, but they refused to sign the surgery consent form. Both of them wanted to come here to see their son's condition for themselves, which I understood. After all, no one could accept that their son, who had just gone out for a trip, might need an amputation. It takes about 2 hours to get from the city to this suburban area. While waiting for Xiaoshu's parents, the doctor said his mental state was extremely unstable and asked if someone could go comfort him, and just like that, I walked in. Xiaoshu lay disheveled on the hospital bed, dried tears at the corners of his eyes. When he saw me enter, he became agitated, and tears suddenly welled up. He said, "Lin Luo, why didn't you stop me? You clearly wouldn't let me carry that despicable woman before." It seems the impact just now jolted his memory of his past life. Just as well, I don't have to feel the slightest bit of sympathy for his situation. I feigned confusion and looked at him. "Xiaoshu, what nonsense are you talking about? Xiaoshu's chest heaved violently as he cursed. That bitch is trying to kill me, but wait, this wasn't supposed to happen. I put on an indignant expression and said, exactly. If she had just let go of you, you would have been pulled up safely, you'd be perfectly fine right now. Xiaoshu's eyes instantly reddened. I added, unlike now, she just choked on some water, but you're going to need an amputation. Xiaoshu froze, his bloodshot eyes staring at me in disbelief. Lin Luo, what did you say? 3. What, did Xiaoshu really not know? I squeezed out a few tears, suppressing the thrill inside, and said hoarsely, Xiaoshu, your arm is severely infected and can't be saved. Your parents are on their way. Beep, beep, beep. The monitor blared urgently as medical staff rushed in to save Xiaoshu. I've really caused them so much trouble. Xiaoshu's parents arrived quickly. At the sight of their son's critical condition, his mother nearly fainted, while his father, wiping away tears, signed the surgical consent form with trembling hands. The thought of how heartbroken my parents from my past life must have been upon seeing me die made me weep uncontrollably. Mr. and Mrs. Xia quickly recognized me since we're from the same hometown. They knew exactly who I was. Through my choked-up account, they learned that Xiaoshu had fallen into the water while helping Song Yuan cross the river, and that Song Yuan's refusal to let go had caused him to be swept away by the current. Mrs. Xia stormed into Song Yuan's hospital room like a woman possessed. Song Yuan had just undergone minor surgery and was receiving oxygen therapy. Mrs. Xia slapped Song Yuan across the face. The blow jolted her out of her groggy state, and she stared back in terror. It's because of you, you wretched woman, that my son has to have his leg amputated. I'll kill you. I'll kill you, you little bitch. Mrs. Xia was incredibly fierce, and Song Yuan was beaten so badly she scurried away in panic. Mrs. Xia wept bitterly. Why are you completely fine while he ended up like this? You're the one who ruined my son. Song Yuan was terrified and cried, trembling as she said, Auntie. I had no idea this would happen. Hitting me is against the law. I feigned holding Auntie Xia back, wiping my tears as I said, Auntie, Xiaoshu wouldn't want to see you hit Song Yuan either. She's the girl he was willing to risk his life to protect. Hearing this, Auntie Xia gritted her teeth in fury and actually bit Song Yuan's arm. Song Yuan let out a sharp cry, but Auntie Xia refused to let go. It wasn't until doctors and nurses rushed over that the two were pulled apart. The wound was bleeding heavily, and Song Yuan was completely stunned with fear. I've heard that human bites are worse than animal bites. I wonder how Song Yuan is doing. Watching the chaos unfold before me, I let out a silent laugh as I sat on the hospital chair, tears streaming down my face. I miss my parents so much. The exhaustion from non-stop work since my rebirth suddenly overwhelmed my heart. I video called my mom. It's 5:30 in the morning, and there's mom looking all sleepy-eyed, yawning as she waters the flowers. Surprised to see me calling at this hour, Mom said, Luo Luo, having fun, no sleeping in today. Fighting back tears, I tried to keep my voice steady. It's okay, Mom, I just miss you and Dad. After chatting with Mom for a while, I slumped onto a stool, exhausted, and dozed off. As dawn broke, figures hurried back and forth in the corridor. I heard the doctor urgently asking, has Song Yuan's family arrived? She's been bitten and infected. She needs an amputation. The scene instantly descended into chaos. I was stunned. I'd heard human mouths harbor more bacteria than animals, but I never imagined Song Yuan would end up needing an amputation. Mrs. Xia's mouth fell open in shock. After a moment of stunned silence, she spat out viciously, serves her right, who told her to shamelessly harm my son. Song Yuan's mother rushed over. After learning what happened, she got into a physical fight with Mrs. Xia, who shouted, how was it me biting her? It was her own hand that hit my teeth. I should be the one demanding compensation. The police officer arrived and managed to temporarily take control of the situation. They went to the counselor for information. Her face was deathly pale as she stammered, this has nothing to do with me. Song Yuan insisted that Xiaoshu carry her. I cried out, Counselor, if you had held Xiaoshu and Song Yuan back instead of letting go, they might still be alive. Xia's mother and Song's mother instantly shot the counselor a look of pure hatred. We were all taken to the police station as persons involved in the incident. I explained every detail of what happened to the officers. Seeing how shaken I was, they offered me some comfort. My parents came too. My mom said she could tell something was off during our phone call, noticing how unusually cautious I sounded, unlike my usual carefree self. My parents picked me up right away and made sure I could rest at home. In the dream, I seemed to return to my past life. my soul hovering in midair as I watched my parents weeping over my waterlogged, swollen body. My parents insisted I was never the type to take my own life and demanded an autopsy, which eventually revealed traces of a sedative in my nasal passages. After a thorough investigation, the police identified my academic advisor and Xiaoshu as my killers, ensuring they faced the consequences they deserved. But my parents lost me forever. Mom's health declined rapidly, and Dad quit his job to care for her, leaving them in deep poverty. I woke up in tears, wrapped in a warm embrace as Mom whispered words of comfort. Thankfully, fate gave me a second chance to make up for these regrets. In the class group chat, everyone organized a hospital visit for Song Yuan and Xiaoshu. Both had amputations, which I never saw coming. The students were discussing how Xiaoshu had lost his entire left arm, while Song Yuan had lost half of her right arm. Everyone was in shock, unable to believe what had happened. Mom was worried I'd get upset again and didn't want me to go, but I insisted. Dad said with a bitter smile, Luo, don't blame us for speaking up, but you should break up with Xiaoshu as soon as possible. Putting aside the amputation, the fact that he got involved with another girl shows he's no good anyway, so they still thought I was hung up on Xiaoshu. I reassured Dad, don't worry, Dad, I know what I'm doing. I'm going there to break up with him. When I arrived, several classmates were already standing by Xiaoshu's hospital bed. His face was ashen, and he clearly wasn't pleased about their visit. The moment I appeared, a glimmer lit up his gloomy eyes as he softly called out, Luo. I forced a smile, my gaze drifting to his missing arm and tracing its absence. He shifted uncomfortably. Have you been recovering well? I'm feeling a bit better. Luo, lying here injured made me realize something. You've always been the one who truly cared for me. Xiaoshu gave a bitter smile. Oh, I replied flatly, watching as Xiaoshu nervously swallowed. He quickly added, you wouldn't look down on me just because I lost my arm, would you? I deliberately let my eyes redden. Xiaoshu, it's not about that. But I can't forget that you lost your arm because of Song Yuan. Every time I think about how you became like this for another girl, it feels like there's this invisible wall between us. I let out a helpless sigh. A flicker of malice crossed Xiaoshu's eyes before he quickly masked it, putting on a pitiful expression as he said, Luo, I just wanted to help a classmate. I didn't think it through that much. Please don't misunderstand. Really, you're not lying to me. Are you? I pleaded, looking at him anxiously. He nodded solemnly in response. Over the next few days, I stayed at Xiaoshu's hospital room to help take care of him. He was deeply moved, showering me with sweet words and agreeing to everything I said. Even my parents are starting to get anxious, but I told them not to panic. I have my own plans. During our conversation, I asked about Xia's mother's situation. Xiaoshu's eyes dimmed as he explained that, due to Song Yuan's severe injuries, his mother might face criminal charges. However, his father is currently negotiating with Song's mother, hoping to reach a settlement, though it will require a hefty compensation. Xiaoshu was deeply distressed. He held my hand and said bitterly, Luo Lin, if my family has to sell a house to pay the compensation, would you look down on me? I was overjoyed inside, but feigned hesitation on my face. Xiaoshu gripped my hand even tighter. I brushed it off vaguely, but over the next few days, I wasn't as warm toward him. Xiaoshu noticed and grew anxious, showering me with sweet talk every day. It was almost comical. Unlike Xiaoshu, Song Yuan refused all visits from classmates and kept to herself. I started texting her, Yuan, is your wound feeling better? Everyone in class is really worried about you. She didn't reply. Yuan, I talked to Xiaoshu. He apologized for what his mom did. Can't you find it in your heart to forgive her? Song Yuan quickly responded, Luo, are you out of your damn mind? If you lost your hand, would you forgive the person who hurt you? I retorted with conviction. But all of this really happened because of you. If you hadn't been so difficult, how could Xiaoshu have ended up getting amputated? Frankly, we're being generous by not holding you accountable. Song Yuan sent over a barrage of abusive messages, and I read through them with a smile. I continued, your manners are terrible. I always knew you were putting on an act before. Now Xiaoshu has seen your true colors. He absolutely despises you. I'm going to show him all these messages. Song Yuan sent several 60-second voice messages. That wasn't her limit. It's just the maximum length for WeChat voice messages. She also sent quite a few pictures. Luo, you're such a bitch. Do you have any idea what Xiaoshu and I have been up to behind your back? Let me enlighten you. I was completely frozen in shock as several intimate photos of Xiaoshu and Song Yuan came through. Both were barely dressed, Xiaoshu wearing only a tie, while Song Yuan knelt at his feet in lingerie, wearing a collar and sticking out her tongue. As a college student, it felt like a whole new world had opened up to me. I'd assumed everyone around me was just like me, but it turns out I was still living in an ivory tower. I shot back, Song Yuan, these aren't real, you must have photoshopped them yourself. Song Yuan sneered, can't handle this already. I haven't even shown you the really shocking part yet. I don't believe it. I'm going to find Xiaoshu and get the truth right now. As I rushed into the hospital room in tears, I saw local media interviewing Xiaoshu, promoting him as a model student who courageously did the right thing. Xiaoshu looked solemnly into the camera and declared, I have no regrets. As class monitor, it's my duty to protect every student. If given the choice again, I would still save Song Yuan. Several school administrators nearby expressed their approval. I pretended not to see any of that and recklessly rushed up to Xiaoshu, crying out at the top of my lungs, Xiaoshu, how could you do something like that behind my back with Song Yuan? Why have you been lying to me all this time? In an instant, the entire room fell silent. Xiaoshu's face flushed red as he said, Lin Luo, shut up right now, we're live on air. My hand, still holding the phone, froze mid-air. I looked pitifully at the camera, pretending as if I had just noticed it. I sniffled, I'm sorry, Song Yuan sent me some intimate photos of you two to provoke me. I couldn't handle it and had to ask you right away. Xiaoshu was furious, his face contorted with anger. Luo Lin, don't believe her, she's always been jealous of our relationship. I said timidly, well, alright then, I won't disturb you two any further. Having achieved my goal, I made a quick escape. Sure enough, the incident went viral online just a few hours later. The accident had already caused quite a stir locally, and I ended up adding fuel to the fire. The live stream from that day spread like wildfire. Some netizens zoomed in on my phone screen as I waved it around. The footage was blurry, but it left a lot to the imagination. Some even dug up photos of Xiaoshu and Song Yuan checking into a motel near the school. The show's finally starting. All that effort wasn't wasted. I ignored Xiaoshu's calls and paid no mind to Song Yuan's insults. Instead, I went with my parents to see a therapist, specifically choosing the campus clinic so classmates would notice. Soon, the internet was flooded with sympathy for me. Meanwhile, the mockery toward Xiaoshu and Song Yuan reached a fever pitch, with people sarcastically dubbing them the amputee couple. 5. We have a new academic advisor now. The previous one was disciplined and later suspended from duty. Remembering she was one of the masterminds in my past life, I decided to make her pay. With red-rimmed eyes, I started a live stream and first apologized for the recent public controversy. Choking up, I said, I hope everyone can let this matter fade. Xiaoshu and Song Yuan have already suffered enough with their amputations. As someone who witnessed it firsthand that day, I still can't shake those painful images from my mind, let alone the two of them, who lived through it. I released the video from that day. I want to make it clear that, regardless of Xiaoshu's intentions, he genuinely tried his best to save Song Yuan. I have a habit of filming travel vlogs, and my camera was clipped to my backpack strap the whole time. See for yourselves. That's how I ended up sharing the footage from that day. I didn't post much, just the critical moment when the instructor let go of Xiaoshu's hand. My distraught cry, Instructor, why did you let go of Xiaoshu's hand? If you had held on just a little longer, the rescue team would have been here, was especially picked up by netizens. As a result, netizens began condemning the instructor, and her personal information was quickly dug up and exposed. A wave of accusations followed, and the school quickly dismissed the counselor, issuing a statement to distance themselves from her. The counselor called me, demanding angrily why I had tried to ruin her. Suspecting she was recording, I told her I hadn't intended to harm her. I just wanted to do what was right for those who'd been hurt. She thought I meant Xiaoshu, but in truth, I was referring to my past self. She sneered, what a lovesick fool. You've been cheated on by Xiaoshu ages ago. Who knows how many times he's been with Song Yuan. You're just a pawn in their little game. The recording was done. It's not like she's the only one who can record things. I made sure to get my own copy too. I went to Xiaoshu's hospital room. He resents me deeply now, but he's also terrified I might break up with him, so I calmly played the advisor's recording for him, and his face instantly turned pale. Let's break up, Xiaoshu, I said with a wounded expression. I could have taken care of you if you were disabled, but I just can't accept you being tainted like this. Xiaoshu's eyes reddened. Lin Luo, this is all your fault. I'm a man with normal desires. If you hadn't kept refusing me, I wouldn't have given in to Song Yuan's advances. I found it utterly ridiculous, so it's all Song Yuan's fault now. Are you seriously suggesting she forced you into it? I said to him earnestly. Xiaoshu, I actually think you and Song Yuan are perfect for each other. Given what's happened, instead of paying compensation, why not just marry her? That way you get both a wife and a house, and you two can scratch each other's backs. My words must have been too vicious, because Xiaoshu's face twisted in anger. He grabbed a glass and hurled it at me. I dodged it effortlessly and smiled at him. Xiaoshu, this is the last time I'll come to see you. When the new semester began, Xiaoshu and Song Yuan were discharged from the hospital and soon returned to school. To everyone's surprise, the two of them actually got together, and even went as far as getting legally married. Song Yuan looked at me with disgust and sneered. So what if he lost an arm? Now Xiaoshu and I are truly a perfect match. Both of his family's Beijing properties are ours now. Lin Luo, you ended up with nothing. A perfect match indeed. I looked at her with pity, wondering if Song Yuan had been after Xiaoshu's assets from the very beginning. Song Yuan signed the letter of understanding for Xia's mother, successfully entered the Xia family, and registered her marriage with Xiaoshu. But one has to wonder, as the one who caused Xiaoshu's condition in the first place, how will his mother and Xiaoshu himself treat her in the future? I applied for a study abroad exchange program to get away from them. A wise man doesn't stand under a dangerous wall. It's best to be cautious when dealing with people who have no moral boundaries. 2 years later, I returned to attend my university graduation ceremony and saw Song Yuan, who was visibly pregnant. She looked pale and swollen. Her already petite frame appeared even more pitiful against the backdrop of her large belly. I walked up to congratulate her and feigned surprise, saying, "That was quick. I had no idea you two were expecting." After a moment of recognition, Song Yuan realized it was me and immediately puffed up with pride. "This is already my second child," she said. "My mother-in-law promised each kid gets their own apartment." Lin Luo, you must be so jealous of me. Seems like the first heir didn't work out, so Xia's parents are already pressuring Song Yuan to produce a spare. I exclaimed in surprise. 2 babies in 2 years. You're quite the baby machine, Song Yuan. But if each child gets an apartment, what about you? If Xiaoshu divorces you, you'd be left with nothing, wouldn't you? I'd hit a nerve. A crack appeared in Song Yuan's proud facade. I added with a grin, "Not like me. My parents' house is all mine. No need to worry about that, and no pressure to have kids either." Lin Luo, shut up. Song Yuan snarled at me, her face twisted with anger. "Lin Luo, you're back," Xiaoshu exclaimed, his face lighting up as he hurried over to me. His eyes swept over me, a bittersweet loneliness in his gaze. In a commanding tone, he said to Song Yuan, "Wait over there for a moment. I need to talk to Lin Luo." Tears welled up in Song Yuan's eyes with a pitiful gleam, but her faded beauty made this tactic seem ineffective against Xiaoshu now. "Hurry up," Xiaoshu snapped impatiently, shooing her away. Song Yuan shot me a venomous glare before turning on her heel and storming off. Xiaoshu gazed at me, collecting his thoughts before lowering his voice. "Lin Luo, I once had a dream where you desperately tried to stop me from carrying her across the river. I survived unscathed, completely unharmed." I chuckled. "Then in that dream, we must have lived happily ever after, didn't we?" Xiaoshu's face instantly turned pale, forcing a weak smile. Now he finally understood that I was the one who saved him in our previous life, yet he repaid my kindness with betrayal, driven by a twisted desire for revenge that ultimately led to my death. 6. And Xiaoshu, there's something I never told you, I said with a faint smile. "The truth is, after you lost your arm, I never once considered leaving you. It was only when Song Yuan sent me those intimate photos of you two that I decided to walk away, and it was because of those photos she sent that I lost control, stormed into your hospital room, and ended up making a scene on live broadcast." Xiaoshu's face was as cold as ice. Over the years, he might have had his suspicions, but he'd never heard me say it outright. I ignored him and walked over to join my classmates. "You know what, the other day, I ran into our first counselor on the street. She looked a total mess, nothing like her usual arrogant self. She was using a crutch, like she'd hurt her leg or something. Wait, you haven't heard, she got beaten up by some drunk while working a night job. The guy had mental issues, apparently." I glanced at Xiaoshu, who seemed completely unfazed by the news. Clearly he already knew. "I wonder if his parents had a hand in this." I smiled faintly. "Unfazed, their lives are a mess, but I've already pulled myself out of that icy river. My future is bright and warm." Story 2. When Guqing abandoned me at the altar, I knew he had also been reborn. He said, I can't lie to myself anymore. This time, I won't let her slip away again. In our past life, my sister crashed our wedding in her bridal gown. But Guqing turned her down. Heartbroken, my sister became a war correspondent overseas and later died on assignment. Guqing chose to end his life for her that same day, driving his car into the river with himself still inside. The dashcam captured his final moments, revealing the years of repressed yet obsessive love he'd harbored for my sister. After my rebirth, watching Guqing and my sister walk away together, I couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. Little did Guqing know, my sister had always taken pleasure in stealing what was mine. The more I cherished something, the more she desired it, while what I discarded held no appeal for her. At Guqing and my wedding, the MC asked Guqing, at this very moment, what's the one thing you most want to say to your bride? Guqing grabbed the microphone and shouted excitedly, Shintian, I love you. The entire room erupted in uproar. Because I'm not Shintian. Shintian is my younger sister, right now. She's tiptoeing into the wedding venue in her bridal gown, planning to steal Guqing away, but in our past life, Guqing turned her down. He said he only loved me. Heartbroken after being rejected, Shintian became a war correspondent overseas and died in the line of duty. Upon hearing the news, Guqing committed suicide the same day by driving his car into a river. The dashcam captured his final moments. I regret it so much. Why did I marry Shintang out of obligation? Why didn't I leave with Tian Tian back then? Why did I let her go abroad alone? With her gone, what's the point of my existence? I'm sorry, Tian Tian, I'm coming to be with you now. We'll never be lonely again. Guqing's voice was thick with despair, remorse, and anguish. Every word he said felt like a knife twisting in my heart, tearing me apart. The tragic part was, I was already 8 months pregnant at the time. A week after Guqing's death, Shintian, who had supposedly come back from the dead, shamelessly appeared before me. I never died, just told Guqing a little white lie. Never thought he'd take it so seriously, so he loved me that much all along. She stood before me with a victor's poise, looking at me like I was some pathetic joke. Ever since we were kids, she's always loved stealing things from me. She's my father's illegitimate child, when her mother abandoned her at age 10. My father had no choice but to bring her back to the Shin household. After returning to the Shin household, she put on an innocent facade while secretly resenting any advantage I had over her. She'd go to any lengths to possess whatever I owned, whether it was grandparents' affection, father's love, or even my own mother's attention. She wanted it all. The same went for my favorite clothes, dresses, jewelry, and cosmetics. She'd inevitably acquire identical copies. I had a feeling she'd try to steal my boyfriend, but I never thought she'd actually succeed. Guqing, is it true? Shintian gazed at him with tearful joy, overwhelmed with happiness. It's time I showed some courage for us, Guqing said with unwavering determination. He walked off stage, leaving me alone under the spotlight. He stood before Shintian, gently wiping away her tears, so Guqing could be this tender with others too. Guqing and I met during freshman year. He was a financially struggling student, orphaned with only an elderly grandmother who collected scrap to support his education. I kindly sponsored him. I even accompanied him to take his sick grandmother to the hospital and covered the medical bills. In my past life, Guqing was the one who pursued me first. He said I made him feel the warmth and sunshine of this world. He admitted he wasn't worthy to pursue me now, but feared that years later I'd belong to someone else. That's a risk he couldn't take. Yet he made me a solemn vow to strive for a better life together, swearing he'd rather lose both legs than ever betray me. With my support, Guqing's career skyrocketed after graduation. True to his word, he married me at the peak of his success, but after marriage, I could no longer feel his passion for me. Yet now, Guqing's gaze burned with intensity as he looked at Shintian, his eyes brimming with the joy of having her back. What about my sister? Shintian said hesitantly. She turned her eyes to me. No one noticed the glint of triumph hidden in her eyes. I'll never forget the words she whispered in my ear before pushing me down the stairs to my death. All I did was fake a fall in front of Guqing, then accidentally let him see the wounds I'd inflicted on myself. He was so heartbroken, believing the Shin family had abused me. Did you think he kept his distance all these years because he disliked me? No, he feared losing control and taking me. Do you have any idea how much he suffered holding back? Honestly, I never thought Guqing would actually marry you out of obligation. If I can't take what's yours, then let him die. Neither of us shall have him. Now that you know the truth, sister, you can die too, the title of Shin family's heiress belongs to me alone. I tumbled down the steep staircase, killing both myself and the unborn child. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on my wedding day, so Guqing had been reborn too. 3. Guqing glanced back at me, his eyes devoid of any hesitation or conflict. I can't keep lying to myself, this time, I won't let her slip away again. Without giving me a chance to respond, he took Shin Tian's hand and walked away without looking back, watching Guqing rush toward his so-called love. I curled my lips into a bitter smirk. He never knew Shin Tian had always snatched what was mine since childhood. The more I cherished something, the more she craved it. What I discarded held no appeal to her. That lavish wedding naturally collapsed before it even began. Being jilted by Guqing became the town's favorite joke. I was the one being laughed at. Nobody dared to criticize Shin Tian, the homewrecker. I knew Guqing had put out the word in the circle. As the rising star in the industry, no one dared to cross him. I didn't even bother defending myself. Anyway, Guqing will get his comeuppance later. Right now I'm more focused on building my own career. After getting together with Guqing, my whole world revolved around him. I managed his company, handled his social obligations, and willingly stepped back to focus on family once his career stabilized. I actually thought he was worth it. How blind I was. After disappearing for a month, Guqing and Shin Tian returned to the Shin household. She knelt on the ground, weeping as if her heart would break, as if she's the victim here, when she's the one who stole someone else's husband. When I got home, I could see the helpless expressions on my parents' faces. No matter what, Shin Tian's outrageous behavior at my wedding would have made any parents furious, but now their anger has slightly subsided because of Shin Tian's repentant attitude. When Shin Tian saw me, she completely broke down. Crawling on her knees, she pleaded, "Sis, punish me however you want. Just please don't blame Guqing. This is all my fault. Whatever I want," I confirmed. "Whatever you want," Shin Tian said resolutely. In my past life, I'd been lenient with Shin Tian too. It's not just that she's fake. Even when she likes the same things I do, I see it as her lacking confidence, desperately trying to copy me. What really matters is that I couldn't be bothered to stoop to her level. The upbringing I've had made me certain Shin Tian would never outshine me. I still underestimated her, so at that moment, I bent down and slapped Shin Tian across the face with all my might. The sharp crack of the blow left her completely stunned. Before Shin Tian could react, Guqing shoved me aside roughly, nearly sending me to the ground. He shielded Shin Tian in his arms and snapped, "Shin Tang, our issues have nothing to do with her. If you've got a problem, take it out on me." "Fine." Without hesitation, I stepped forward and slapped Guqing across the face again. When it comes to scumbags and trashy women, I'll slap them all one or two. It makes no difference. 4. Guqing was visibly fuming from my blows. He probably never expected someone as gentle as me to act so rough. My parents were completely stunned too. A month after being jilted at the altar, I showed no signs of emotional breakdown at home. If anything, I became more driven. Knowing I never held grudges against my sister, they assumed I'd channeled my grief into motivation, and that was the end of it. The end? How is this possible? Justice may be delayed, but it's never denied. "Shin Tang, we came back to sincerely apologize to you," Guqing said angrily, with unwarranted self-righteousness, as if I should be grateful just because he showed some remorse after wrongdoing. I laughed in sheer disbelief at his shamelessness. "Do you really think I have to accept your apology?" I challenged Guqing. "By that logic, if I murdered your entire family, would a simple sorry make it okay? What's the point of having police, laws, morals, or basic decency then?" My sarcasm left Guqing utterly humiliated. He clearly hadn't expected me to be this ruthless, nor to strip him of all dignity. In the past, I'd always tiptoed around to protect his fragile ego. I knew he was insecure about his background, so I always made sure to uphold his masculine dignity both in private and public. Accustomed to being pampered, he was completely thrown off by my unusual behavior and just stood there dumbfounded, speechless for a good while. Then Shin Tian spoke up. "Sis, I know you love Guqing deeply and can't accept us being together right now, but love can't be one-sided. We're truly in love. Please give us your blessing." "If I withhold my blessing, will you two break up?" I asked Shin Tian with a smile. "You've never been this unreasonable before. Guqing doesn't love you. You two would never be happy together. You should actually be grateful you're not married yet, that you've avoided real tragedy." Shin Tian's words dripped with false righteousness. I had to admit, Shin Tian was right. Marrying Guqing would have been my tragedy, but does that give her the right to steal someone else's husband? I sneered sarcastically. This is the first time I've heard someone glorify homewrecking as some noble, virtuous act. Shintian flushed crimson at my verbal jab. Before she could retort, I fired back. Should I be thanking you? Thank you for humiliating me by crashing my wedding with Guqing. Thank you for meddling in our relationship. Thank you for showing me what a worthless scumbag Guqing is. Thank you for being that homewrecker. She's not a homewrecker. Guqing rushed to defend her. I know you can't accept our breakup right now, but I don't love you. Nothing you say will change my decision to be with Shintian. Guqing. Do you think I'm some kind of desperate fool? I glared at him with utter disdain. What made you believe I'd still have feelings for an irresponsible, cheating, tactless, brainless, and downright filthy man? Do I look like a garbage dump to you, Shintang? How could you become like this? Do you have any idea how ugly you're being right now? Guqing completely lost his composure, his face twisting in rage. The more you act this way, the more impossible it becomes for me to ever like you again. 5. Well then, I should thank you for your gracious disinterest, I sneered. You. Guqing was rendered speechless, his face flushed crimson, probably never having dreamed I could become so bitterly sarcastic. Shintian soothed Guqing. Don't be upset. Sis only said those things in the heat of the moment. I'm sure she'll forgive us eventually. Guqing took a deep breath to calm himself down. He said, Shintang, no matter what, I'm truly grateful for your support back then. To repay you, I genuinely want to be with you and treat you well for the rest of my life. The more I listened, the more bitterly ironic it felt. So what he's saying is, being with me was just an obligation, because I helped him, and this was his only way to repay me. By offering himself, he was emotionally blackmailed. Tang Tang, I've tried, but I'm just not happy with you. I don't want our marriage to become chains that bind us. You deserve better, and I deserve to be with the one I truly love. As he spoke, Guqing cast a tender glance at Shintian. The two exchanged a sickeningly sweet smile. How revolting. My parents couldn't take it anymore. Guqing, Shintian, you came back today to make amends for the harm done to Tang Tang. In other words, this isn't the time for your public displays of affection. Here's a card. Guqing produced a bank card. I've calculated it. The medical expenses you covered for my grandmother back then totaled about 30,000 yuan. This card holds 3 million, a hundredfold return. You're not losing out. I stared coldly at that bank card. At least I no longer held any expectations for Guqing. So the disappointment didn't cut too deep. 3 million is no small sum. But has he forgotten? It was me who helped him land jobs, start his business, and establish himself. Forget 3 million, even his current 30 million net worth came from me. Sis, Guqing has done more than enough for you. Anyone else would have just repaid the money with interest. No more than 100 grand, Shintian chimed in, stirring the pot. You haven't worked a day since graduation or earned a single penny. Guqing's been supporting you all these years, you should be grateful. So this is how you've been describing me to Shintian, I asked Guqing. Guqing's evasive eyes and indirect response spoke volumes. It was tacit admission. He said, Shintang, let's part amicably and remain family. Part amicably. When Guqing started his business after graduation, I stood by him through every struggle. I drank myself sick to secure deals for him. Even endured inappropriate advances from unscrupulous clients, all things he knew full well and once felt deeply ashamed of. In the end, it all boiled down to Shintian's dismissive remark about never earning a single cent. I took the bank card. I saw the contemptuous smirk on Shintian's face. Guqing also let out a sigh of relief. Even if our family isn't poor, 3 million is still no small sum. They were certain I couldn't refuse. I didn't disappoint them. Wishing you a lifetime of happiness. Thanks for your blessing, sis, Shintian said politely, though without much genuine joy in her heart. Just like every time before, she took what was mine and always managed to walk away scot-free. She'd grown accustomed to these outcomes. But then, to everyone's surprise, I casually added, trash belongs with trash. 6. Guqing and Shintian's faces turned ashen with rage. Shintian finally snapped. With righteous indignation, she said, Sis, you've already taken the money. Don't you think you're being hypocritical by acting this way now? First, this money is rightfully mine. I enunciated each word deliberately. Guqing's success today is entirely my doing. I, Shintang, made it happen. No amount he gives me could ever be too much. Second, your affair was your wrongdoing, yet it left an indelible stain on my life. Compensation is the least I deserve. Finally, I wasted 10 years of my youth on a dog. 3 million. Is that really too much to ask? Shintian was momentarily speechless. Gu Qing hadn't expected to get the cold shoulder upon arriving home. With a frosty expression, he said, "Anyway, I don't want to dwell on who's right or wrong between us anymore. When were you ever right? Fine, consider me wrong," Gu Qing conceded, unable to argue further. "But what's done is done. I've done all I can. If you won't forgive me, so be it. My only hope now is that you won't resent Tian. Direct your anger at me instead. Don't worry, I won't punish myself for your mistakes. Hating you would just be a waste of my life. I'm done wasting my time on them." Gu Qing will get what's coming to him sooner or later. As for Tian, crossing paths with Gu Qing won't end well for her either. Does she really think Gu Qing is some kind of saint? I ignored them and retreated to my room. Right now, career advancement matters more to me. I'll never be foolish enough to do the work while others take the credit. From then on, I threw myself entirely into my work. I used the 3 million Gu Qing gave me to set up an online media company. I signed a lot of internet celebrity streamers, created live streaming sales channels, and invested heavily in new media short-form fiction videos. The company grew rapidly. I was so busy that I only got 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night, and I ate every meal on the go. I simply had no time to concern myself with Gu Qing or Tian anymore. It wasn't until a former business partner of Gu Qing's, unable to reach him, called me to ask if he should renew their expiring contract. He still had no idea that Gu Qing and I had gone our separate ways. I was actually the one who secured that project for Gu Qing, so they had to come to me. "I won't sign the contract," I said, "but I'm willing to work with Mr. Lin." I told him about my situation with Gu Qing. Mr. Lin agreed without hesitation, saying he'd only signed with Gu Qing out of respect for me. He added that Gu Qing had become completely unreliable, skipping work constantly and being unavailable when needed, which had drawn complaints from multiple partners. Since President Lin put it that way, I won't stand on ceremony. I never touched Gu Qing's clients out of some humanitarian concern. It simply wasn't worth the resources to poach them. After my rebirth, I knew exactly which markets were ripe for the picking, so why waste effort? But when business comes knocking, you don't turn it away. 7. I began reaching out to Gu Qing's business partners one by one. Most clients chose to renew with me instead of Gu Qing when their contracts expired, yet throughout this period, Gu Qing remained completely oblivious. This would have been unthinkable in the past. The old Gu Qing was a workaholic, though occasionally lacking in negotiation finesse. His professional dedication would never have allowed clients to be poached. He's got enough awareness for that, of course. There's no need to be surprised now. During my occasional downtime, I'd scroll through social media to unwind, only to see Tian and Gu Qing traveling across the country every day, living like wandering souls. Tian would post multiple updates daily, with Gu Qing liking and commenting on every single one, prompting her to reply each time. The two of them went back and forth, and their moments became a place for them to shamelessly flaunt their affection. Half a year flew by. And when Chinese New Year came around this year, Gu Qing and Tian returned from their trip abroad, laden with gifts for their parents. Tian also brought me a gift. She said, "Sis, I specifically bought you this pink crystal bracelet. It's been blessed, and they say it's great for attracting romance. It's supposed to be really effective. I heard from Mom and Dad that you've been all alone these past 6 months, and Gu Qing and I are really worried about you." "Don't worry," I said, handing the pink crystal back to Tian. "I just prefer to have nothing than to settle for less. After all, running into another dog would be too costly." Gu Qing's face darkened. "I won't be home for dinner. Got some unfinished business to take care of." I tossed the words over my shoulder and headed to change clothes. The sight of them completely killed my appetite. I had just stepped into the bedroom when my phone rang. It was Song Yuan. Song Yuan, a high school classmate of mine, had recently returned to China. We reconnected at the last class reunion and have kept in touch ever since, as we have some potential work collaborations. "Are you free tonight? It's Lunar New Year. Aren't you supposed to be having dinner at home?" I chuckled. My extended family won't stop nagging me about marriage. It's unbearable. "Free for dinner tonight." "Fine, perfect timing. I was just looking for a dinner buddy." Song Yuan said he'd pick me up downstairs in 10 minutes. I rushed to change and threw on some makeup in record time. Realizing I hadn't done my makeup in ages and it being Lunar New Year, I decided to put in a little extra effort. Walking into the living room, I saw Gu Qing and Tian all over each other, sickeningly sweet and borderline nauseating to watch. "Sis, dressing up so fancy. Got a hot date or something?" Tian asked with deliberate mischief. Gu Qing's eyes were on me too. who I see is none of your business, is it? She's just worried about you, Shintian said, feigning annoyance, then deliberately added in front of my parents, Dad, Mom, it's been so long, why is sis still like this? I've been so careful with her. My mom didn't indulge Shintian either, she used to feel sorry for her, believing that the mistakes of one generation shouldn't punish the next. So, when Shintian returned to the Shin family, my mom didn't hold much against her, especially since she was sweet-talked and good at playing the victim, but ever since she snatched Gu Qing, my mom seemed to have seen through Shintian's true colors. She said bluntly, "You're being careful. Then why were you practically throwing yourself into Gu Qing's arms right in front of Tang Tang? You're being careful. You practically post 100 WeChat moments every day just to tell Tang Tang how much you and Gu Qing are in love." Shintian's face turned crimson after what my mom said. She stammered for a long moment before finally saying, "I thought you'd moved on, sis. I'll definitely be more careful next time. Don't bother being careful. Just post whatever you want," I said indifferently. "I'll just enjoy the show." "What do you mean by that?" Shintian asked me, clearly annoyed. "Literally. The higher you jump, the harder you fall." Without another word to Shintian, I walked out. Song Yuan was already waiting downstairs. Seeing me emerge, he hastily stepped out of the car and gallantly opened the door for me. As I got in the car, I could almost feel someone's eyes watching me from upstairs. A cold smirk played on my lips. Seems like things are about to get interesting. 8. Song Yuan and I didn't get back until 10 p.m. after dinner, with a bouquet of flowers in my hands. Normally, Gu Qing and Shintian would have left by this hour, but tonight they were still here. The moment Shintian saw the champagne roses in my arms, her expression visibly shifted. That same predatory glint flashed in her eyes, the telltale spark of excitement whenever she wanted to take something from me. "Sis, your date's over already?" Shintian asked me. I ignored her, carefully arranging the champagne roses one by one into the vase. "I just saw you leave with a guy. He was really tall." "Is he your boyfriend?" Shintian pressed. "What, you're interested too?" I scoffed, a cold smile playing on my lips. "Are you really that fond of my things?" Shintian quickly said. "I'm just worried about you. Gu Qing and I are together now, and we're getting married soon." "Well, congratulations to you both then." After I finished arranging the flowers, I went back to my room. I had just changed into my pajamas when I heard a knock at the door. I opened it to see Gu Qing standing there. "You really have a boyfriend now?" Gu Qing asked me. "Does it concern you?" "I just don't want you to be taken advantage of," Gu Qing said. "His name is Song Yuan, right? I heard from friends that you've been spending a lot of time with him lately." Gu Qing and I had been together for so many years, it wasn't surprising that we shared mutual friends, and it was perfectly normal for information to circulate among them. "Yeah, that's right." I admitted it outright. "We even had a candlelight dinner together tonight." "Do you know he has a girlfriend abroad?" Gu Qing said, agitated. "So what?" I replied, completely unfazed. "I said he has a girlfriend. He has a girlfriend and he's still with you. What does that make you?" Seeing my indifferent expression, Gu Qing finally lost his temper. Before I could even open my mouth, he went on another rant. "Shintang, what do you think you are? When did you become like this? Are you just giving up on yourself after breaking up with me? There are so many good men in the world, it's not just me. Why do you have to make yourself look like this? Are you doing this on purpose to make me feel guilty?" I actually laughed, a genuine laugh born of exasperation. "What are you laughing at?" Gu Qing was still fuming. "I'm laughing at how there can be such a shameless person in this world." "Shintang, stop pretending. I know you can't let me go, otherwise. Why haven't you dated anyone since we broke up so long ago? Why are you with someone who already has a girlfriend? You're just doing this to get a reaction out of me," Gu Qing stated with absolute certainty. "So, you also think being with a man who has a girlfriend is a shameful thing, don't you?" I didn't want to argue with him anymore. It was pointless. A Phoenix man would never deny his own charm, nor would he ever believe he was inferior to anyone. His pathetic self-esteem forced him into extreme arrogance. "That's absolutely disgraceful," Gu Qing declared, his voice firm. "What about Shintian then?" I asked him with a smile. Gu Qing paused, clearly taken aback that I would mock him like that. "My situation with Shintian is different." "How is that different?" I found it even funnier. "Weren't we in a relationship when you hooked up with her? How is it that when it's you and Shintian, you're pursuing true love? But when it's me and Song Yuan, we're some shameful secret? Do you have to cheat at your wedding for it to be considered a grand, moving love story, you. Gu Cheng's face flushed at my words, he gritted his teeth and said, Shentang, I'm doing this for your own good. I know very well that Song Yuan is just playing with you, he's going abroad right after the new year. Do you really think there's a future for you too? How would I know if I don't try? What if he would give up going abroad and give up his girlfriend for me? If Shintian can do it, why can't I? I deliberately provoked Gu Cheng, and also made sure Shintian, who was outside the door, could hear me. She had been eavesdropping for a while, but I pretended not to notice. Gu Cheng had his back to the door, so there was no way he could have noticed. 9. You just want to prove you're more charming than Shintian. To put it simply, you're just resentful that Shintian took me away from you. Gu Cheng remained supremely confident. I didn't say anything, just stared at Gu Cheng. Gu Cheng frowned. Why are you looking at me like that? Is there something on my face? Yeah, there is. I nodded. What is it? Gu Cheng frantically patted his face, searching. It's a bit gross, Shentang. Gu Cheng was furious. Since you're so shameless, I see no point in sparing your fragile ego, I sneered, each word cutting like a knife. Song Yuan comes from an elite family. His father's a business tycoon, his mother's a Peking University professor. Everyone in his circle is either wealthy or distinguished, light years ahead of a small-town grind like you. He graduated from top international universities, stands tall and handsome, speaks with wit and grace. But what truly sets him apart is his complete lack of insecurity or arrogance, that effortless ease with life you'll never achieve in a million years. With someone that extraordinary, what makes you think I'd still be hung up on you? Did I lose my damn mind or get hit by a door? I watched Gu Cheng's face turn green as I spoke. Don't ever show your face around me again, I said, enunciating each word. You're an eyesore, Shentang. Remember what you just said, you'd better not regret it. Gu Cheng was furious. He spat out a final remark and stormed off. I clearly saw Shintian at the door, but I didn't stop for a second. Shintian glanced at me, as if she had something to say, but in the end, she gritted her teeth and went after Gu Cheng. Only after that, Shintian started coming home frequently. She no longer traveled everywhere with Gu Cheng, and she subtly started asking my parents about me, eventually learning that Song Yuan and I were growing closer. On my birthday, I deliberately called my mom to tell her I'd be having dinner out with Song Yuan and wouldn't be coming home. I told my mom the exact time and place we'd be eating. Sure enough, at 6:30 p.m., I unexpectedly ran into Gu Cheng and Shintian at the restaurant. They were arm in arm, so were Song Yuan and I. I saw Gu Cheng's eyes fixed on the spot right next to Song Yuan, where I was standing arm in arm, so was Shintian. But Shintian's gaze was more focused on Song Yuan, sizing him up and down. Her eyes gleaming. Hey sis, what a coincidence, let's grab lunch together, Shintian initiated cheerfully. Not a good time, I declined outright and immediately pulled Song Yuan toward our reserved table. Throughout the meal, I could occasionally sense Gu Cheng and Shintian's gazes, but deliberately ignored them. Halfway through dinner, Song Yuan gave me a surprise. He sat at the piano in the elegant restaurant, playing beautiful music for my birthday, captivating everyone's attention. He even publicly presented me with flowers and expensive jewelry, drawing envious glances from many girls, including Shintian. I saw the predatory look in her eyes, and I could no longer suppress the longing within me. So, when Song Yuan got up to go to the restroom, Shintian followed him. The moment Shintian left, Gu Cheng immediately walked over to me. 10. Shentang, are you serious? Are you really going to be Song Yuan's mistress? Gu Cheng said, his face full of disdain. Don't put it so harshly, I replied, unruffled. Song Yuan and I are truly in love. You're really not the Shentang I once knew. Does it matter if I'm the Shentang you know? I said indifferently. To me, you're just an insignificant person. Why would I care what you think of me? Shentang, I told you before, don't show your face around me. You're an eyesore. With that, I got up and headed straight for the restroom. Gu Cheng followed me. Then, as we walked down the restroom hallway, we saw Shintian leaning into Song Yuan's arms. Thank you, Song Yuan, I would have fallen if it weren't for you. Shintian feigned panic, but anyone with eyes could see she was deliberately pressing herself against Song Yuan. I saw Gu Cheng's face turn as black as coal. He probably felt a sense of déjà vu too, didn't he? Wasn't this exactly how Shintian seduced Gu Cheng back then? Song Yuan steadied her. Shintian then pretended to twist her ankle again, throwing herself back into Song Yuan's arms, clinging tightly to him, and letting out a whimper. Oh, it hurts so much. What's wrong? Song Yuan asked, concerned. I think I twisted my ankle. I can't walk. Do you need me to take a look? Song Yuan asked. Wouldn't that be too much trouble for you? And what if my sister sees us and gets the wrong idea? Aren't you afraid of being misunderstood? Song Yuan whispered seductively in Shen Tian's ear. Isn't this little act of yours just to tempt me? I would never do such a thing, yet her body instinctively leaned closer to Song Yuan as she protested. Seizing the moment, Song Yuan pulled Shen Tian into an embrace. Your sister mentioned you're getting married soon, he teased. So why are you still being such a tease? Who said I'm getting married? How could I possibly marry Gu Qing? Shen Tian snuggled into Song Yuan's arms. I don't like him at all, he's just a gold digger. Completely unworthy of me. I only stayed with him because I was afraid he couldn't handle a breakup. Oh really? But I heard you snatched Gu Qing away from your sister's wedding ceremony back then, Song Yuan teased, falling for someone else so quickly. Or is it that you just have a thing for your sister's men? Now that your sister doesn't want him, you don't either. That's not it at all, Shen Tian denied. I just genuinely like you. Tell me honestly. Do you have a thing for your sister's men? Song Yuan lifted Shen Tian's chin. Anyway, your sister and I were just messing around, but I like honest women. Shen Tian seemed desperate to snatch Song Yuan from me, so she admitted, yes, I've always loved taking things from her since we were kids. Why should she get to enjoy everything the Shen family gave her so naturally when I had nothing growing up? It's not fair. So I swore. Anything my sister has, I want it, including men, Shen Tian. Are you with me just because I'm your sister's boyfriend, and not because you actually like me? Gu Qing finally couldn't take it anymore and roared at them. 11. Shen Tian flinched. She didn't expect Gu Qing and I would be here too. She quickly and flusteredly said, no, it's not what you think. I was just helping my sister test Song Yuan, to see if he was truly sincere about her. Oh, come on. Song Yuan exposed Shen Tian. The way you were practically throwing yourself into my arms just now. As if you wanted to melt into me, and constantly rubbing against me, you were practically ready to strip right there and then. I did not. Song Yuan didn't say much. He left Shen Tian's side and walked up to me. Old classmate, how did the mission go? I nodded with a smile. I'll apologize to your girlfriend later. Her boyfriend's body was, defiled because of me. No need. She absolutely despises green tea bitches and fully supports me helping you. I'll treat her to dinner abroad sometime. It's a deal. Song Yuan and I left. Behind me, I could almost hear Gu Qing's desperate roar. Shen Tian, I'm going to kill you. Do you have any idea how much I've sacrificed for you? How could you do this to me? Shen Tian was also screaming. Gu Qing, let go of me, you lunatic. It's your own fault for falling for me. You're just too foolish. Now that everything's out in the open, I'm done playing with you. Let's break up. I wouldn't even glance at anything Shen Tang doesn't care for. It makes me sick just to look at it. Let go of me. I didn't turn around to watch their spectacle. What's so interesting about a dog-eat-dog fight? But I have to admit, there was a definite sense of vengeful satisfaction deep down. Later, I heard that Gu Qing and Shen Tian ended up at the police station that day. Both of them were bruised and battered, which was quite undignified. After that, I heard that Gu Qing's company ran into serious trouble, and he was deep in debt, on the verge of bankruptcy. Of course, none of that mattered to me. Gu Qing was an outsider. As for Shen Tian, my parents' tolerance for her reached its limit because of her repeated attempts to seduce my boyfriend. They completely cut ties with her and kicked her out. I thought I'd never have anything to do with either of them again, but I never expected Gu Qing to have the nerve to come see me. He waited for me outside the company after work. Gu Qing looked like he'd lost a ton of weight since I last saw him a few months ago. He seemed completely dejected. Of course, I'm well aware of the bind he's in right now, if he can't secure another loan. His company is going under, he said. Tang, I was wrong. I never imagined Shen Tian would be this kind of person. I watched him with a detached amusement, a slight smile playing on my lips. He was nothing more than a joke to me. Then, his voice thick with sorrow, he pleaded, Shen Tian tricked me. I regret it so much. I just realized now that you're the one I truly love. Can we start over? I swear, I will never betray you again. If I do, I'll cut off my own legs. I scoffed. You said you'd cut off your own legs if you betrayed me before, and yet here you are, still with all your limbs. Are you a centipede or a crab, with so many legs to spare? Gu Qing was utterly mortified by my words. Cut the act. I'm not going to co-sign a loan for you at the bank. Every second I spend on you is a waste of my life. I didn't come here for you to help me with a loan. I've truly realized that you're the one I love. Honestly, I was jealous when you were with Song Yuan. But I was too afraid to admit it, afraid you'd laugh at me. And now you're not afraid. I'm more afraid of losing you than of you laughing at me. Ugh, I couldn't help but gag. That's truly disgusting. Guqing, his face pale and eyes red-rimmed, asked me, Tang Tang, do you really not forgive me? Weren't you and Song Yuan just putting on a show to expose Shintian, so I'd see her true colors and we could get back together? I really couldn't help but laugh again. I didn't waste any more time with him and just said, Guqing, you're not the only one who's been reborn. 12. Guqing was stunned. In our past life, when you took your own life for Shintian, did you ever think about me, pregnant with your child? What reason do you think I have to forgive you, let alone love you? Everything I've done is purely for revenge, I said coldly, for myself, and for the child I never got to have. Tang Tang, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Guqing panicked. Reaching for me in distress, I pulled away. He kept muttering, I was wrong, terribly wrong. How could I abandon you, abandon our child, for a woman like that? Tang Tang, I found it annoying, so I called over security. Get him out of here. Don't let him set foot in this place ever again. Tang Tang. Guqing was restrained by the security guards, but his eyes remained fixed on me, filled with deep regret. To me, it was utterly ridiculous. If only I had known then what I know now. I left without a word, and never let Guqing see me again. I blocked his calls and ignored all unknown numbers. He waited for me at the company, then downstairs at my place. I had the security guards kick him out, and even called the police, completely cutting off any chance of Guqing bothering me again. Just when I had completely forgotten about these people, Shintian suddenly came looking for me. She shamelessly demanded money from me, threatening to expose how my family kicked her out if I didn't pay. Aiming to ruin my reputation and that of the entire Shin family, I immediately sent her the video of her seducing Song Yuan. I knew all along she'd pull a stunt like this once she was desperate. Shintian has gone mad. As I was driving home from work, Shintian recklessly swerved her car directly into my path. Just then, another car came out of nowhere and slammed into Shintian's vehicle, sending it flying. She's currently walking cautiously into the wedding venue in her bridal gown. Intending to snatch Guqing away, I got out of my car, my heart pounding. Shintian's car was completely mangled, and she was trapped inside, bloody and motionless. The other car wasn't in much better shape. Guqing was covered in blood in the driver's seat, but his eyes were open, as if he was trying with all his might to see me clearly. I saw his lips move, as if he was saying, I'm sorry, it's no use. I shook my head, refusing his apology. Even if Guqing dies, he'd still be atoning for our dead child. I'll never forgive him for what he did. Soon, the police arrived at the scene. Shintian died on the spot. Guqing became a vegetable after resuscitation and remained bedridden indefinitely. I never went back to the hospital to see him, because Guqing no longer existed in my world. After all, my life had already moved on. The end. Story 2. In our final semester of high school, the billionaire's daughter confessed to her childhood sweetheart. He turned her down and publicly declared his love for me, the girl who'd always adored him. Believing his feelings were genuine, I followed him through every reckless escapade until my grades plummeted, dethroning me from academic royalty. At graduation, he went official with the billionaire's daughter, who'd secured early admission to an elite university. I overheard him sweet-talking her while badmouthing me. I read her diary. She's been obsessed with me for over a decade. Just another pathetic simp. Who'd ever want someone like that? The only reason I'm with her is to make her give up that guaranteed admission spot for you. I promised your parents I wouldn't ruin your academic future. How else would they let you marry me? After dying in a daze from that car accident, I woke up reliving the day my boyfriend first confessed his feelings. He held up the flowers with tender affection, declaring his love for me. I slapped him across the face. 1. Shinzinan confessed his feelings to me right after noon dismissal. When the schoolyard was packed with students, he suddenly came charging out. He scooped rose petals from his pocket, scattered them on the ground, then knelt on one knee holding a bouquet of baby's breath to confess. Xingxing, I love you, will you be my girlfriend? There he knelt amidst crimson petals, the bouquet held high. The classmates rarely got to witness such drama during their stressful high school days. One by one, they all started egging us on. His loving gaze only sent chills down my spine. Had I not been reborn a month ago, I might have actually fallen for his tender facade. We were both orphans who grew up in the same institution. We studied together, worked odd jobs to make ends meet, clinging to each other for warmth through hard times. In my past life, I'd already fallen for him. I eagerly accepted his confession, declaring with conviction under our teacher's disapproving gaze that we'd stay together forever. After that, he started skipping class with me. He'd pass me secret notes during lessons. He even said he'd make me experience a woman's pleasure before graduation. My grades kept plummeting, yet whenever I tried to improve, he'd coincidentally pull me back down harder. But back then, I believed love could sustain me, completely ignoring my teacher's warnings. I even started fantasizing about marrying him right after graduation. Looking back now, I was hopelessly stupid back then. After graduation, Shinzinan did go public with his relationship, just not with me. It was Gu Jiaojiao, the heiress of Liuqing's richest family, who'd once confessed to him. The moment I saw their social media post, I rushed to confront him, only to overhear their conversation at the door. The two were discussing engagement plans. When mentioning me, Shinzinan's tone dripped with undisguised contempt. That Luoxing, just my pathetic lapdog. I only dated her to keep you focused on studies, to show you what happens to puppy love fools. He chuckled and pulled Gu Jiaojiao into an embrace. Who'd actually like that clingy type? Just some casual fun, only she'd take it seriously. But her downfall did knock some sense into you, got you into that elite school. At least she was good for something. I promised your parents I wouldn't disrupt your studies. How else would they agree to let me marry their precious daughter? Pouting playfully, Gu Jiaojiao asked, you two were childhood sweethearts, and after dating for half a year, she must still hold some place in your heart, right? He smirked mockingly. Never. I don't know how I walked away. At that moment, I didn't even have the courage to push open the door and slap him. When I came to my senses, I'd already been run over by a truck. My body racked with excruciating pain. The only thought in my mind was how I'd failed to slap that bastard to death back then. So this time, as I watched Shinzinan kneeling before me, gripping my hand with his greasy fingers and preparing to kiss my knuckles, my hand jerked instinctively. That long overdue slap finally landed across his face, transcending time and space. Stunned by the blow, he forced a strained smile. Xing, are you, perhaps too nervous? As he spoke, he shoved the bouquet into my arms and moved in for a hug. I kicked him in the groin and immediately followed up with a backhanded slap. Looking down at him curled on the ground, my expression turned icy. I don't like you and won't accept you. Stay away from me from now on. I've been keeping my distance from you all month. Why can't you take the hint? I looked around with disdain and said, everyone, just leave. Shinzinan, who had been brimming with confidence about his confession, froze on the spot. Even the surrounding classmates were stunned. After all, everyone knew I used to have a crush on Shinzinan, always following him around like a puppy, though I'd been keeping my distance from them this past month, going solo all the time. They just assumed we'd had a lover's quarrel. Even if it's a rejection, you didn't have to be so brutally harsh. Shinzinan scrambled up from the ground, his face dark as thunder. He glared at me viciously. Luoxing, have I spoiled you too much? Do you really think you can manipulate me? Let me make this clear. I confessed to you out of courtesy because you're a girl. Turn me down now, and there won't be a next time. Who else would want an orphan like you anyway? His face was brimming with arrogance as he spoke, even flashing a hint of smugness while showing off to me. I already know you like me. Just apologize now, and I'll pretend nothing ever happened. Then he stood there with unwavering confidence, waiting for my apology. After all, in all those years before this, we'd never had such a serious argument. Even when he forcibly brought Gu Jiaojiao, the transfer student in senior year, into our social circle, I just silently sulked for a day. The next day, I was the first to extend an olive branch. I scoffed coldly. Did you catch some delusional disease? When did you become this narcissistic? We're both orphans, but we're nothing alike. You've got no looks, no grades. Do you really think the top student would fall for a hopeless loser like you? A mocking glint flashed in my sharp eyes. You think you're worthy? The taunt instantly pierced Shinzinan's fragile ego. Nothing infuriated him more than people mocking his flaws. But he's got way too many flaws. This guy's like a walking landmine. You never know what random comment might set him off. All these years I've been tiptoeing around his fragile ego. But not anymore. He looked utterly humiliated, his whole body trembling with rage. His finger trembled as he pointed at me. How dare you humiliate me like this? A dark glint flashed in his eyes, playing hard to get. If your diary hadn't spelled out your feelings for me, why would I ever confess to someone as desperate as you? He let out a cold laugh, adopting a patronizing tone. Don't think I don't know what's written in that pink notebook buried deep in your desk. I've seen it all along. You've had a crush on me since we were kids. haven't you? Following me around like some lovesick puppy every day, even spending your hard-earned money on me. You're seriously pathetic." Watching his confession crash and burn, he started hurling every vile insult imaginable at me, desperately trying to salvage what little remained of his shattered pride. But did I really look like I'd give him that satisfaction? My eyes welled up as I saw the approaching teacher, biting my lip hard. My gaze burned with defiance. "What's going on here? Why aren't you all at lunch?" The teacher's angry shout came from behind, sending timid classmates scattering like startled birds. A few bold onlookers grinned and told the teacher they weren't hungry. Meanwhile, I barged straight into the classroom and grabbed a pink-covered notebook. By the time I stepped out, my classmates had already given the teacher a quick rundown of what happened. I've always been the well-behaved type at school, never stepped out of line, so the teacher decided to hear my side of the story first. My hands trembled as I raised the notebook high, glaring at Shinzenan across from me with burning resentment. "This is the diary you mentioned, the one you claimed was filled with my secret crush on you." Shinzenan smirked confidently. "That's the one. There's even a page covered with my name. Isn't this proof enough that you have a crush on me?" As the words left his mouth, he looked at the teacher with burning intensity. "Teacher, I'm not lying, she totally has feelings for me. It's even affecting my studies now. I only confessed to her today because I had no choice. What if she keeps harassing me otherwise?" He spoke with such sincerity that even the teacher was almost convinced. "Luoxing, what on earth is going on?" With trembling hands, I opened the notebook as everyone around watched curiously. Shinzenan waited eagerly for the crowd's uproar and the look of devastation on my face, but there was nothing, because everyone around was already looking back with disdain. "What nonsense, that's completely untrue." A guy in our class shot Shinzenan a disgusted look. "Are you actually delusional, thinking everyone likes you?" The teacher sighed with a hint of disgust in her expression. "Shin, confidence is good, but your priority now should be studying. Stop causing trouble and distracting Luoxing from her work. Do you call this a love diary? It's clearly an error correction notebook." Shinzenan's face froze as he rushed forward and snatched the notebook from my hands. His face turned deathly pale the moment he saw the densely packed wrong answers written on the page. "This can't be. Absolutely impossible. These were supposed to be her secret diary entries about having a crush on me." He glared at me with a face contorted by overwhelming emotion, demanding, "Where's the diary? Did you hide it from me?" Before I could react, teachers and classmates around us had already pulled us apart. "I excel academically, have good looks, and a pleasant personality. By any measure, I'm far more popular than that hot-tempered thunder god." The teachers shielded me behind them, glaring sharply at Shinzenan. "Mr. Shen, this ends here. If I catch you harassing Luoxing again, I'll recommend your expulsion to the school. The scholarships and study opportunities the school fought so hard to secure for you weren't meant for harassing good students." The teacher's blunt words turned Shinzenan's face ashen, with a flush of humiliated anger creeping up his neck. He clenched his fists so tightly they shook, glaring at me with murderous intensity like he wanted to skin me alive. But under the teacher's withering gaze, he reluctantly lowered his head. "I'm sorry, teacher. I was wrong today. I apologize to Luoxing. This won't happen again." I watched his retreating figure with a cold smirk. Some people always think their plans are foolproof. Unfortunately for them, I've been reborn. For a whole month already. A month is more than enough time to accomplish plenty, like burning that diary from my past life that dragged me into the abyss, replacing it with the mistake notebook I'd prepared, too. The incident spread like wildfire through the grapevine. Thanks to those gossip mongers who witnessed it, everyone started calling Shinzenan Narcissus Bro. They said he was a toad lusting after a swan's flesh. How dare someone like him fantasize about a top student like me having a crush on him for years? He was so humiliated that he skipped class for days. When he finally showed up at school again, he was already dating Gu Jiajiao. How did I find out about this? Because on Shinzenan's first day back, both of them got called into the teacher's office. I curiously asked my deskmate what had happened. The girl grabbed my hand excitedly and started gossiping. "Xing, I had no one to spill the tea with when you were at the competition this morning. Guess what? They're officially a couple now. And get this, Jiajiao confessed first." The whole scene was so cringy, I swear it was even cheesier than when Mr. Narcissist professed his love to you. Mr. Narcissist got so emotional he straight up pulled Jiajiao into a dramatic kiss right then and there. The teacher literally fainted from rage and is still on oxygen at the hospital. The department chair had to drag those two lovebirds to the office. She clicked her tongue twice, saying, "Damn, that's impressive. It's been ages since I've seen such textbook-grade insanity. What else can I say? Classic Narcissus over here. Color me impressed. I stood there dumbfounded. In my past life, Shinzenin had always maintained this image of icy composure around me. The only time he ever made a move was when he tried to initiate me into adulthood right before our college entrance exams. He was usually ice-cold toward me, so that single moment of tenderness completely swept me off my feet. At this thought, I secretly slapped myself across the face, knocking all that lovesick nonsense from my past life out of my head. As school was about to end, the teacher finally released them from the office, with curious classmates craning their necks to look. To everyone's surprise, the moment they stepped out, they immediately held hands. They even waved at classmates while passing by, acting like they were walking the red carpet. Everyone nodded with polite smiles, then immediately turned to whisper, "Jesus, these two idiots actually think they're hot shit. This is hilarious. Can't wait to see how this plays out. I hereby declare them our campus clowns." They remained blissfully unaware of how ridiculous they looked. As Shinzenin passed by me, he shot me a smug glance while clutching Gu Jiaojia tightly in his arms. "Having regrets now?" With a dramatic hair flip reminiscent of those tacky emo influencers, he sneered. "Had you said yes back then, you'd be the one enjoying all my love right now." I recoiled several steps, desperate to avoid their toxic aura. "Hard pass. May you two live happily ever after, preferably with 8 babies in one go." Gu Jiaojia simpered against Shin's chest, throwing me a triumphant look. "Save your sarcasm, you're just jealous I won brother Shin's heart. Too late for regrets now." As if to make a statement, she grabbed Shinzenin's hand and planted a wet, smacking kiss on it. When they pulled apart, strands of saliva still connected them. The crowd instantly erupted in shrieks. "Holy shit, my eyes, goddamn my fucking eyes. My eyes, my eyes." But they mistook it for the whimpers of a lovelorn singleton getting third-wheeled. Watching me cringe, they strutted away triumphantly. Truth is, I was just dying of second-hand embarrassment. Honestly, if they stay here any longer, I won't need to buy a house. I'll have dug myself a basement out of sheer embarrassment. My toes just excavated an entire Disney castle from cringe. My classmates gave me these loaded looks. "Luosheng, you're actually childhood friends with someone like that?" I shook my head decisively. "Never met him. We just happened to grow up in the same orphanage." My deskmate looked at me hesitantly. "But you said earlier." I glared at them. "Don't ask. Keep asking, and he'll become your childhood sweetheart." My deskmate immediately shut up. During the long break, he gave Gu Jiaojia a bouquet of flowers. Passing classmates shot them amused glances. Gu Jiaojia mistook them for looks of envy. With her head held high like a proud swan, she accepted the bouquet. The couple embraced sweetly before everyone. The furious teacher scowled in disgust as they walked past the couple. It was clear no teacher cared to discipline them anymore, yet the pair seemed to take this as the teachers endorsing their romance. They began flaunting their affection even more openly. Just after class, I was about to head to the school library with my books for some quiet study time. When I turned around, I saw two people walking toward me in an awkward embrace. Shinzenin had his arm around Gu Jiaojia's waist, yet she insisted on linking arms with him. I couldn't help but burst out laughing at the sight. Seeing me smile, Shinzenin lifted his noble head and strode to my side. With a disdainful glance at the books in my arms, he sneered, "Told you you're just a bookworm. What's the point of being book smart? You'll still end up marrying an outstanding man like me anyway." He gave a cold laugh. "This world still belongs to men. Women should just focus on their natural duty of bearing children. Stop fantasizing about women holding up half the sky. That's utterly delusional." I shot him a derisive glance while feigning a wounded expression before turning on my heel. Another second in his company and I'd catch his stupidity like some contagious disease. Let them keep flaunting their love and acting crazy. I've got college entrance exams to focus on. Can't afford to have my IQ dragged down by him. The two behind me burst into laughter, clearly convinced I still had lingering feelings for Shinzenin. What puzzles me is why they can't just stay obsessed with each other. Must they really drag me into their little game? Shinzenin strode over, took one look at my distressed expression, and smirked triumphantly. "I knew you still had feelings for me. Who exactly were you trying to impress with that aloof act of yours? Serves you right for playing hard to get and failing. As punishment, you'll just have to watch me and Jiajiao live happily ever after." He planted a loud, smacking kiss on Gu Jiajia's cheek. The girl covered her blushing face with her hands, then shot me a defiant look. "Brother Shin belongs to me now. Back off, I'm warning you. I can give him things you'll never be able to." After all, I'm the heir to my family's corporation. I stubbornly refused to glance their way, terrified that if I saw their expressions, I wouldn't be able to hold back my laughter for another second. She covered her face and hurried away. In the following days, those two became even more insufferably smug. Between dealing with them and preparing for college entrance exams, I was completely fed up. My frustration must have shown on my face, but they completely misread the situation. That day, the inseparable pair suddenly went their separate ways. Shinzinan suddenly came to find me this morning and mysteriously pulled me aside. Our classmates watched curiously, crowding by the doorway trying to eavesdrop on our conversation. My deskmate even secretly slipped a voice recorder into my pocket. She winked at me and whispered, "I bought this recorder just to catch your gossip, cost me a pretty penny too." I rolled my eyes at her and followed Shinzinan out. In the hallway, Shinzinan put on an affectionate act and tried to hold my hand. Seeing my frown, he awkwardly withdrew his hand. "I'll give you one chance. Just apologize to me publicly and admit you like me. The reason you rejected my confession was just because you're shy. Do this, and I'll give you another chance. I'll cut ties with Gu Jiaojiao." I let out a stunned huh. Waves of commotion kept rolling in from the classroom behind us. I rubbed my throbbing temples. "Aren't you worried about pissing off Gu Jiaojiao? Her family's loaded, and she's set to take over their company after graduation." Sure enough, hesitation flickered across Shinzinan's face. Her eyes welled up with emotion as she looked at me. "I knew you still loved me. You're being so considerate of me. Don't worry, I'll handle this matter properly." Gritting his teeth with a hint of guilt, he said, "Even if I can't give you an official status, just say you love me and apologize, and I'll have no problem making you my mistress. I'll treat you both equally. Maybe even favor you more since I can't give you a proper public standing." Gagging noises erupted from classmates behind us. "If this keeps going, I'll become the punchline at every single class reunion from now on." I quickly cut him off. "Let's just drop it. You and your precious Gu Jiaojiao can stay together forever." When I hurried back to class, sure enough, my classmates greeted me with sarcastic remarks. Mimicking that pink creature's mannerisms, they spread their hands and drawled, "If it isn't our narcissist's little sweetheart, my love for you both is absolutely equal." Their teasing made me flush crimson, and I let out a deep sigh. "Stop it already. I'm completely fed up with him." The classmates around us nodded in emphatic agreement. A few guys even thumped their chests and promised, "Don't worry, if he bothers you again, we'll chase him off for you." Just when I thought their provocation would end here, Gu Jiaojiao showed up at my doorstep that afternoon. My deskmate sighed and resignedly slipped the same recorder into my pocket, giving me another knowing wink. I walked out in despair, staring at Gu Jiaojiao with dead fish eyes. Unfazed, she held her head high and looked down on me with the same condescending gaze as before. I cut her off mid-sentence, pulled out the voice recorder from my pocket, and played it for her. Her expression didn't change one bit after listening. If anything, she looked even more smug, blushing furiously. She gave me a once-over with a critical eye. "I can't imagine what Brother Shin sees in someone as flat-chested and shapeless as you." "Guess what? We've already given each other our firsts. You've missed your chance," she declared with pride. "I'm his first and only woman, his salvation in this lifetime." He said even if he's with you, he'll still consider my feelings. "You'll only ever be his mistress. When the time comes, you'll just be a servant under me. Know your place." I stared at her in stunned silence. Who knew this recording would be completely useless against her? The Qing dynasty's long gone. Why hasn't this bastard turned to dust yet? She mistook it for striking a chord with me. She gloated at me. "Who told you not to cherish him when you had the chance? Now that I've taken him away, you must be heartbroken, aren't you?" She was dying to see regret in my eyes, because only my remorse could validate everything she'd done, but to her dismay, all she could detect in my eyes was sheer awkwardness. "I'm dying of cringe here. Can these idiots just get the hell away from me? God damn it. I'm calling the cops to haul their asses to jail." A shiver ran down my spine as I frantically shook off the creeping disgust. I waved my hands at her repeatedly. "Spare my brother. I just want to focus on studying now. Please let me be." I slunk back to class like a beaten dog. When I told my classmates about what happened, their usual teasing vanished, replaced by uneasy glances at the smug girl walking away outside. A look of indescribable sorrow crossed his face. After a long silence, my deskmate let out a wistful sigh. "This kid comes from a well-off family, doesn't he? Yet he seems starved for affection."